Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hard Knocks debuted the 2021 season last night on HBO. I watched it, featuring America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And it's funny, this morning, USA Today had a headline, 5 takeaways from Hard Knocks. I started reading it. I'm like, what am I reading this for? I don't need your 5 takeaways. I got a couple. Number one, I was not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. I think people that watch this show know that. I'm less of a Dak Prescott fan coming out of watching this show. What a whiner. What a whiner. Look, I understand you want to take every rep. I get it. You can't take every single rep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was very upset
that he couldn't.
That he was pulled early in this training camp a couple of weeks ago because they want to give the backups some work. Danny Bonaducci, the backup quarterback. Well, Ben DiNucci is his name, but I call him Danny Bonaducci, which means nothing to you, do you? He was the star of the Partridge Family. Anyways, that was one. Dak, come on, stop whining. Let these other guys have some work. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt. 2, the biggest one was Jera. When he was talking to the team, I thought it was the head therapist. You said it was the team doctor.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah. So he's writing with an HB pencil these notes on Dak, talking with the medical staff on the phone. And we all take away different things. But my thing was this. He's eating a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, Jera Jones. And people are saying, well, what's odd about that? He's worth $7-8 billion. How did he not have a Red Seal chef at his ready? You know, here you go, Mr. Jones. With his choice, an omelet station.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Benedict or something like.
Right. An omelet station. A guy cutting a roast at the end of the table. Jerry, when you're done with the trainer, we have your choice here of ham, roast beef. Do you want that in your omelet, Mr. Jones?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Do you believe in sports curses? Mike White, who's supposed to be the next big thing with the Jets, goes down in the first quarter, but they're saying there's got to be a curse on the Jets. And our question to you, the viewers, is do you believe in sports curses? Can't make up my mind whether I believe in them or not. Because on one hand, I say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But on the other hand, I'm very spiritual and believe there's a plan and all the rest, so I don't know.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. It's what we call Football Friday here on your favorite daytime sports talk show. Coming your way lovingly on the Game Plus television network, WQE radio and streaming. We've got a lot of people jumping into the pool right off the start. And I'm not going to get to your comments here in this segment that we call the warm-up, where we get to the quick 6 show topics and talk about the night's events in sports and what's coming up. I will tell you that my favorite Saskatchewan Rough Rider of all time, Jeff Fairholm, is going to be with us live here at Ace Casino Airport coming up later on in Hour 1 and through into Hour 2. Jeff Fairholm won Grey Cups with Saskatchewan and the Toronto Argonauts, going to be here. Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert, is going to be with us later on. And also Bakari Grant, Grey Cup champion for the Calgary Stampeders, played for many teams across the CFL. BG is going to join us from the Bay Area. And let's welcome in from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, Darren Moose DuPont. And as a matter of fact, I love the audience, but I can't. This is your and my time, and I feel like the teacher at the front of the room. I've only said it 988 times. Do I have the right show number? Anyways, Moose, a great night of sports, and you're wearing your U of R Rams jacket. How was that evening last night? You emceed their annual fundraising dinner.
It was great. It was a really great evening. We had a full house in town, and honored to be asked to host their annual fundraising dinner, and got to spend some time with all the great folks and some Q&A up on the stage with Riders quarterback Trevor Harris. And then they called it the Rams and the Pros. So it was Mitch Picton and Jorgen Hughes from the Riders. It was Theron Churchill from the Toronto Argonauts. And it was Tavon Campbell from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it was awesome to connect with everybody and had a great time last night.
All right, good to see that you survived. We look very Christmassy today. You're in green, I'm in red, and to be honest, I went out for supper last night with some friends who gave me this Flames gear, like a whole wardrobe of Flames gear, and they said, you haven't been wearing it on the show. We gave it for you to wear on the show. I'm not going to name who it was, but here you go. They're like, we didn't give it to you to leave in the drawer. So, yeah, for all the people that don't like the Calgary Flames, sucks to be you. For the Flames fans, you're welcome. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we will get to it. Thank you. Yeah, buddy. When in Rome, right? You want a color that pops, and the red certainly does that. But we're going to talk about the Winnipeg Jets. They have fallen out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Chandler Stevenson, close personal friend of mine, scored twice in leading the Vegas Golden Knights to a 4-1 Game 5 win over the Jets at the Fortress to move on to round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're the first team to move on, right? Mark Stone and Willie Karlsson scored the others for Vegas, while Kyle Connor scored for Winnipeg. They jumped on them early, Moose. You didn't see it because you were emceeing the banquet, so I'll take it from here. The Jets were never really in the game. They were sleepwalking through it. And if you don't want to take my word for it, how about their coach, Rick Bowness, which we're going to get to for our poll question today in a moment. But Rick Bowness, the head coach of the Jets, whom, let's be honest, everybody in Manitoba and a lot of people outside Manitoba thought should be just a shoo-in for Coach of the Year, the Jack Adams Award winner, just roasted his team for the lack of pushback in Game 5. And the reporters said, was that just a tonight thing? And he goes, no, it goes back to January. We were challenging for first place in the West. We didn't push back then. We didn't push back tonight. Their best players were way better than our best players. It wasn't even close. He roasted them. And then he got up and walked away. Well, I'm sitting there going, yeah, because I like the truth. The truth isn't supposed to have to answer questions. I think we could all see this. So finally, for the last couple of years. So Rick Bowness comes out and, I'll be honest, he pointed the finger at the players because at the end of the day, it's the players that are going to decide whether you win or lose. I don't have any issue with what Rick Bowness said after the game last night, but do you?
No, at first glance, I don't. I mean, he came out there, and his first thing he said was, "This could be short tonight. Who's got any questions?" And you knew right away he was hot, and he had something to get off his chest. And this isn't a guy who just came up with this on the spot. This had been eating away at him, as he said, since January, February, when they were in first place, and then teams started pushing them because they were on top of the mountain, and they had no pushback. And tonight, Vegas pushed them, and they had no pushback. And that's what he was upset with. He put it right on the players. Now, do I think it would have been better served behind closed doors? Probably. Do I think, you should air your dirty laundry in public? No. But that also tells me just how upset he is and how bad it's gotten that he blew his stack in the media, because I'm sure his first choice would have been to do it privately, but it was just too much. And so I admire the authenticity.
Maybe he's been doing it privately for the last 4 months and the message wasn't setting in. And now it's too late because the season's over. But anyways, our poll question today for Key Auto Group. Key Auto Group has the largest selection of quality new and pre-owned vehicles in the Parkland area. Cars, trucks, SUVs. Your journey begins at keyautogroup.ca. Should Rick Bowness be in trouble with Winnipeg Jets ownership over his comments from last night? And by the way, last I looked on Twitter, over 90% of respondents saying no, he won't be in trouble with the owners of the Jets. And I know at least one of them, Mark Chipman. I've spent time with Mark, a very classy, reasonable man. But here's the coach pointing the finger at the players, which you don't like to point fingers. You don't advocate for finger pointing. That's not good. But everybody loves Rick Bowness. He was getting something off of his chest. Now, your suggestion was that the poll question should be, who survives in Winnipeg? Similar to a question we had here in Calgary. The head coach, the general manager, both or neither. And back then, the general manager here got fired, Brad Treliving. What's going to happen in Winnipeg? And to be honest, if I may, nobody should be let go in Winnipeg other than some players. I mean, these NHL people that I talked to over the last several months here in Calgary, not Flames people, but NHL people that live here, at Flames games said that Chevy tried to trade the Blake Wheelers and the Mark Scheifele's in the offseason. Nobody wanted them because the word's out on them. I'm not going to say any more than that, but he tried. So if I'm the Jets owners, number one, I'm not mad at Rick Bowness for what he said. And number two, I'm bringing those guys both back, but maybe not all the players. How about you?
Yeah, I don't have any problems with the Jets running it back this year with mostly the same group, giving it another shot. And to be honest, we saw why they did that. The team with a new coach and a bit of a fresh message was a first-place team early in 2023. The first-place team in the West. So clearly there was something there that was worth giving them another shot. As we go through the rest of the year in the fall and the drop-off and then the fight for the playoffs and then this first-round exit, after going up a game to then, drop 4 in a row, now I think you said, okay, we ran it back with this group. It's not the right group. We got to blow it up. So now the bullseye is on Chevy to change this roster going into next year. And if the Jets aren't improved next season, then I'd be looking at maybe finding, he'd be more under the microscope. But I'm with you, not yet.
Listen, these comments that are coming in from the audience are too good. For whatever reason, the text line isn't working for me. So, Moose, when I see you this weekend, I'm going to have to get you to maybe fix it for me. 902-518-3033. But if there's a really good comment that's come in on that, because our producers get it and you do too, fire it up on the screen and let me know. Couple things. The comments are too good. Yeah, we're coming to you on Game Plus Television. We're also on WQEE Radio. We are Atlanta's NHL show. And also on streaming. So from the streaming audience, John in Edmonton, he's kind of like, we have a love-hate relationship, John and I, from Edmonton. Number one, he says the NFL draft, round 1, was a big snooze fest. And then he goes on to say, Rod, wrong shirt, bro. You're in Alberta. And what NHL team from Alberta is in the playoffs? Not Calgary. Get an Oilers pullover shirt. Well, when the Oilers give me one, I'll wear it. But this was a gift. And as they told me from the people that gave it to me, we gave it to you to wear on the show. So wear it on the show. Okay. And I'll get back to the rest of you later. We haven't even got to the Leafs yet. The Toronto Maple Leafs had a shot at advancing to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time since 2004, but up 3-1 in their first-round series entering Game 5. They fell 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning on home ice. Toronto will get another crack at advancing on Saturday with a Game 6 in Tampa. I feel like they're going to blow it. How do you feel?
Spicy.
Well, I kind of mentioned yesterday, and it was the same with the Jets. You lose one at home, if the Golden Knights would have lost at home, but the Leafs lose one at home. Now you got to go on the road into a tough Amalie Arena, and that's not going to be easy. So not out of this world to think Tampa will win that game. And then you got Game 7, and what happens to the Leafs in Game 7? Your knees will be knocking like crazy, right? You might lose it. But you know what? This was a little different. Just because they blew the game, I don't think that's the old Leafs resurfacing because, Tampa's a really good hockey team. And to think this series would be over in 5 was a little foolish. Both teams played pretty well. The Leafs had a ton of chances. They pushed back late, got it to within a goal with the net empty. And it was an empty net goal that made it 4-2. So, Marner had a little breakaway there, a chance to get on the board. That would have tied it. There was all kinds of chances and pushback that old Leafs teams I don't think would have done. So I'm not as concerned, but who knows? Saturday night, the nerves will be at an all-time high, I'm sure.
Well, I did have the Leafs in 7 going in. So maybe they won't blow it, but I think it is going to go to at least 7. By the way, there was news today coming out of the CFL. Just news today. 4 teams were over the salary cap. Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. Later on, we've got Jeff Fairholm coming by and Jim Lang and Bakari Grant. We'll talk about that later. We got breaking news now. RP Show listeners get 15% off Hotel Clique standard rates with the promo code RP Show.
How about
Book
that?
before May 6th. Yeah, buddy. And travel before December 21st. Not be combined with other offers or negotiated rates. Some restrictions apply. Call Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport for details. You're coming to the foothills? Stay here. You can come watch the show, too, as A lot of people do on a daily basis. So a lot of people have been talking about the NFL draft round one. Finding a franchise quarterback is the quickest path to success in the NFL, so it's no surprise teams made them a priority in round one Thursday night. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson were among the top 4 picks Thursday night. The surprise in the first round was that Will Levis didn't hear his name called at all. Bryce Young, of course, the slender and dynamic quarterback from my Alabama Crimson Tide, went number 1 to the Carolina Panthers. No surprise there. C.J. Stroud didn't wait long. Despite speculation he may drop out of the top 10, he went number 2 to Houston. And then the Texans made a blockbuster deal with Arizona to acquire the number 3 pick and selected Alabama edge rusher Will Anderson Jr. And Florida Gators quarterback Anthony Richardson, whom I know you're high on, Moose, was selected number 4 by the Indy Colts, who will begin a 6th straight season with a different starting quarterback. So that's the highlights of the front end, the top 4. I saw my Dallas Cowboys took a defensive tackle. How much were you following round 1 of the NFL draft last night?
To be honest, the National Hockey League was on the back burner, saved all of that to watch when I got home, and everybody was following the NFL draft last night at the banquet. So, yeah, absolutely, we were following it at the table. All the Rams coaches and the celebrities in the building. And, oh, my God, C.J. Stroud went number 2. I think that was a big shock to Houston that all this pre-draft hype, and he still went number 2. And I think Houston was the biggest player because they went right up to number 3, got Will Anderson, who everybody was pretty high on. And so all of a sudden, that's pretty scary. And if you're, in that AFC South, all of a sudden the quarterbacks in AFC South look pretty good. You got Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence now. And all of a sudden the Titans might be number, 4 on that depth chart with Ryan Tannehill. So interesting day in round 1. Will Levis still to go tonight, potentially in round 2. So we'll see who decides to trade up and maybe take him.
I was flipping back and forth. I came back, watched the end of the Leafs-Lightning game, and then a lot of the Jets-Golden Knights game. I was flipping back and forth, but I'll say this about the NFL and their network ESPN, their favorite network ESPN, it sucks you in. It sucks you in. Just the production of it all. Where were they, in a theater? I'm not really sure, but they had all the top guns there, all the brightest stars, talking about the NFL draft. It just, the show, That part was, so for anybody to say it was a bore, it wasn't a bore. You just weren't prepared for what was going to come down going in. And for years, this would be the time of year where I would say the CFL needs to do this. I'm over it. We're going to talk about the TV deal with CBS Sports Network later on with Jeff Fairholm, but you got to start somewhere. The CFL doesn't want to start with glitzing up the draft, so I'm just not talking about it anymore. The Toronto Blue Jays, .3, are back in action tonight, playing host to the Seattle Mariners. Jays have won 4 in a row, entering the 3-game series, including a sweep of the Chicago White Sox this week. Alek Manoah will be on the mound for Toronto, while Luis Castillo gets the start for Seattle. That's a rematch of, I believe, Game 1 of their playoff series last year. When we come back, we'll talk more about these CFL items, the teams that are over the salary cap. I do want your take on that. The Dub Conference Finals open tonight. NBA playoffs continue tonight. And we will talk about tonight's Stanley Cup playoff games. People really need to stop complaining about something, and I'll tell you why when we return. We're live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clique Calgary Airport on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
We do it every week. It is Bad Beats, presented by our exclusive betting partner and sportsbook, Bet Regal, and let's bring the Moose in from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. And what it is Bad Beats. What's beat your bracket? What's busted your ticket? For all of those, maybe those that entered the NFL Canada Draft Challenge, if you could name the first 15 picks consecutively in round one of the NFL Draft, there's no way you were doing it. But there was some significant bad beats on night one in round one, Moose.
Yeah, there was. And the first was C.J. Stroud. You know, all year it was Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Who's going to go number one? And then it shifted to Bryce Young 1 and C.J. Stroud 2, and that was pretty locked in. But over the last 4 weeks, we saw a lot of talk about C.J. Stroud's test scores, right, and these new tests, and he's not going to be capable as a starter. So we started hearing Anthony Richardson and Will Levis as potential top 3 draft picks, and we were hearing C.J. Stroud might fall down outside the top 10. Some people even said out of the first round, although that's a little bit crazy. So the sports books, they put the bets together. And the number of bets that came in that said C.J. Stroud outside the top 3 or being the third quarterback or worst picked were through the roof. What did Houston do? Didn't listen to anything. Did exactly what they were going to do all along. Picked C.J. Stroud number 2 and busted everybody's tickets that had C.J. Stroud as the third quarterback picked in the NFL draft.
Right, and we talked about the drama going in. Jalen Carter of the Georgia Bulldogs went 9th to Seattle, and they were already apologizing afterwards for taking him because of his history and his track record, I guess. So 9 to Seattle, and he's going with a babysitter, which just yesterday, John Bender sat in this chair and said they're going to need somebody to take care of him, and they said they're going to do just that. John Schmeiser's watching in Kansas City right now, and he says the Cowboy fans around me were not happy with their pick. Neither were the Lions fans. Interesting. Well, in Dallas, where football's king, I'd like to think they know football and watch college football and would know the defensive tackle that they selected. But it reminds me of when the NHL draft was in Vancouver and Blackhawks fans booed Kirby Dach going number 3 overall. You guys don't know who Kirby Dach is. You never watched him play one game. He's the guy that you build a franchise around. Why Chicago dealt him to Montreal, I don't know. But fans are going to be fans, and let's please just stop complaining. One more from John Schmeiser in Kansas City. He says the CFL could do an event to celebrate the draft. Having it on the same scale as the NFL is unrealistic. Could they revisit that CFL week that they had a few years ago and link it to that event? I don't know. I think that'll come back. But I'm not too sure. And before I go any further, just with regards to can we stop complaining? I'm so over it. The other night at the Wranglers game here, an NHL scout that I was chatting with, been friends with him for a very long time. He was complaining that the Oilers and the Kings have to wait until Saturday to play Game 6. Oh, they got damn Clippers in there, or the Lakers or whatever, because the Lakers are home tonight. He goes, busiest arena in North America. Now they got to wait. And I'm like, so what, dude? You got these junior teams got to wait a couple weeks before the Centennial Cup. You've got the Wranglers themselves had to wait, I think it was 11 days between games, the end of the regular season and the playoffs. Can we stop, please, complaining? Everybody's complaining. It's in vogue to complain. Let's complain about who our team took in round 1. Let's complain that our team has to wait an extra day to play a playoff game. It's become like a one-upper. I can bitch more than you.
I know.
I'm more upset than you. I've got more of a reason to be upset than you. Don't you think?
Yeah. Trying to diminish everybody else's problems. To say, well, you don't got problems. I got problems. Wait till you hear about that, And to be honest, this is a completely different conversation, but everybody wants to compare the situation against the worst possible outcome, right? Well, did you die? Mm-hmm. Right? And it's just like, no, but I can validate my own stress no matter how minuscule you think it is. It still matters, but just be happy. Just be happy. And I think when the NFL, like my Titans took an offensive lineman who's probably going to play guard because they think his arms are too short to play tackle, right? And the thing is, you want a quarterback, you want a receiver, you want a star, right? But you need offensive and defensive linemen. So for Tennessee, taking an offensive lineman out of Northwestern, for the Dallas Cowboys to take a defensive lineman, that's the trenches. That's really how you win football games. And they're not sexy picks. You're not going to buy their jerseys, but they're going to win you football games. So really important stuff.
Man, I can't wait to have this conversation with Jeff Fairholm because these scouts and the management, it's too much. His arms are too short to play tackle. I'll tell you what, can he get between the guy in the other colored jersey and the quarterback? Can he stay in between the two? That's all we really need to worry about. And it's funny, by the way, are you following Taylor Lewin? How much are you following Taylor? He's not with Tennessee anymore, is he? Speaking of offensive linemen that people actually do care about.
He's not. I don't think he's officially retired. He may still come back. We don't really know. But Taylor Lewan's one of my favorites. I follow him quite closely.
But did you see his tweet last week that said Kelowna is better than Calgary? How about that?
Yeah, I did. He was up in Canada.
That started a war.
Spending some time in Kelowna. But the problem is, well, I guess if he would have driven to Kelowna from Calgary, then maybe he would have driven through the mountains. But if he only flew, he wouldn't have seen the west side of Calgary, right, where all the mountains and the beautiful side going into Banff is. So that was kind of fun watching him tour through Canada a little bit.
Breaking news, again, RP Show listeners get 15% off Hotel Clique standard rates with the promo code RP Show. Book before May 6th, travel before December 21st, cannot be combined with other offers or negotiated rates. Some restrictions apply. Call Hotel Clique for details. I have it on good authority. Taylor Lewin did exactly that. The former Tennessee Titans offensive lineman used the promo code RP Show and got 15% off his rates here at Hotel Clique. How about that, Clark?
How about that?
Game 1, WHL Conference Finals tonight. I'm saying this because Darren and I are both big fans. A lot of our viewers are big fans of the league. It's down to the Final Four in the Western Hockey League. Game 1 tonight in Winnipeg. Saskatoon at the ice. I'm going to take the ice in 6. And then in the West, Game 1, Kamloops Blazers at Seattle, actually in Kent, Washington. I'll take the T-Birds in 6. But as was pointed out in my commentary today, you can read it at rodpeterson.com. If the Blazers win this series, whoever wins between Saskatoon and Winnipeg gets to go to the Mimmer because the Blazers are hosting. So that's exciting. Any predictions from you, Moose?
Very, very exciting. You know what? I'll take the Blades in 7 just simply because they've gone 7 both rounds and been able to win. So why not keep the train going? And just to have fun, I'll take Kamloops in 6 games against Seattle.
Ooh.
But Winnipeg is such a good team. I mean, you got your boy Benson, right? Who's going to go in the draft? Carson Lambos, Connor McLennan, Matthew Savoy. They're really good, but the Blades are good too. It's going to be fun. I'll be watching.
Get out there and get your tickets, Winnipeg and Saskatoon, for those series, Kamloops, Seattle, and the other. Our guy, Brian Munn's sending the game notes. I read the game notes this morning. My guy, Zach Benson's on a 6-game point streak going in. I'm sure they don't need a push to tell people to buy tickets at the Wayne Fleming Arena in Winnipeg, the Ice Cave, but here's me saying to do it. And by the way, before I move on, you did talk to the general manager of the Blades, and he liked to shove it where it doesn't shine on me, is the sense that I'm getting. Would you please relate that story to our audience?
Yeah, it's funny. I saw Hilty, Steve Hildebrand of the Saskatoon Blades after the game, congratulated them on Game 7 and gave him a little tap on the chest, you know, and he says, you tell that Pedersen to shove it, you know, taking the Pats in that series. He's like, so it was kind of fun. They're all watching. They're all having.
Hot damn!
Yeah. So he knew you were taking the Pats and I was taking the Blades, and we had some fun with it.
He's surprised I'd take the Regina Pats to win in any series. So, way to go, Hilty. Go Ice. Point 5, the NBA playoffs continue tonight with 2 pivotal first-round games. The Golden State Warriors look to close their series with a 4th straight win at home against the Sacramento Kings. Meanwhile, the LA Lakers aim to finish off the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 6 on their home court. And our 6th point and last one. There are 4 games on the schedule tonight in NHL play. The Boston Bruins aim to close out their first-round series against the Florida Panthers in Game 6. The arena is already ready to go at FLA Live Arena. I got people sending me photos today. They're doing their own whiteout down there because, trust me, in Sunrise, Florida, they have no idea about the Winnipeg whiteout. They don't even know. They don't care. They think this is their thing. So I don't know if I want to make a prediction or not, but I know I'll be watching. And I will take the Panthers to win tonight and force a Game 7. Elsewhere, Carolina visits the Islanders. The Canes lead that series 3-2. Dallas is at Minnesota. The Stars lead 3-2. And then Colorado is at Seattle, the Crack House. Game 6 tonight. Seattle can finish it off. We knew there would be an upset in round 1. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? Is it Seattle tonight? Is it Florida extending it? Tampa would be an upset. What a first round it's been.
Oh, unbelievable. You know, the Islanders might be it, actually. You know, the way they've played, they've got a taller hill to climb. They got to come back from being down 3-2. But I'll be interested. That atmosphere, you know, at Climate Pledge in Seattle's been awesome. And they're at home to try and close it out tonight. I'll be intimately following that because it's usually a later game, which I like. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Carolina, I think too, really wants to get this thing closed out really quickly because the Islanders, you know, with Barzal back, it's a sneaky good. So it's going to be fun. And for your Panthers, man, I mean, it's Bob's net now, right? They've turned it over to Bobrovsky, the leader in goal. It's up to him. So can he steal another one? They're at home. It'll be a fun night in the NHL.
Bob's your uncle. Moose, great work.
Bob's your uncle.
And have a great weekend. I'll see you this weekend.
You bet. Great weekend.
A sports update just before we roll. The winner-take-all battle for the 8th and final playoff spot headlines week 22 matchups in the National Lacrosse League. Concludes the March to May this weekend. The regular season ends on Saturday with several seedings up for grabs. Tonight, Halifax visits the Georgia Swarm. That's my team down there in Duluth, Georgia at Gas South Arena. You can watch it on ESPN Plus or TSN Plus tonight. In that key contest, the winner earns the East number 3 or number 4 seed pending other results, and the loser will miss the playoffs. So it's like a playoff game tonight for the Georgia Swarm and Halifax tonight. And ESPNU, that game is a titanic battle between last year's champion Colorado Mammoth and the Western Conference regular season champion, the San Diego Seals tonight. Playoff seedings, matchups, and television coverage will be announced following Saturday's games in the NLL. It's the final regular season, so check out all the matchups and games at NLL.com. Sign up now for Landmark Extras and see what's playing at landmarkcinemas.com, like in theaters now, the Super Mario Brothers movie. While working underground to fix a water main, Brooklyn plumbers Mario and his brother Luigi are transported down a mysterious pipe and wander in a magical new world. Starring Charlie Day and Chris Pratt, the Super Brothers Mario movie is in Landmark Cinemas now. Grey Cup champion with the Argos and Rough Riders, Jeff Fairholm joins us next live here at Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport on Game Plus, WQEE Radio and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Your family needs a break. Delta Hotels Saskatoon welcomes you to our newly renovated hotel and water park. You deserve a vacation close to home. Enjoy world-class hospitality and upscale surroundings. Rediscover Saskatoon. You can enjoy time away from home right in your own city. The kids will love the water slide. Delta Hotels Saskatoon downtown. All the essentials and then some.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
A's Casino Airport is the place to be. Later on today, you might want to come down and watch the show. $7,000 in luxury diamonds going to be given away. Later on today, the final 30 finalists were determined already. I was talking to Brad, the marketing guy, yesterday. They're giving away $7,000 in luxury diamonds here today at A's Casino Airport. It is a Football Friday. We're very excited to welcome Jeff Fairholm. He is my favorite Rough Rider, favorite Canadian Rough Rider ever. Got to clarify that. How you doing, Fairway?
I'm good, Rod. Who's your favorite American Rough Rider?
John Narcisse.
Oh, Narco. Okay,
Number
good.
80.
Yeah, he's a good one.
Two good ones to have as your favorites,
he's a
right?
good friend of mine, too, yeah.
Montreal guy, Jeff Fairholm, lives here in Cochrane now, right? Calgary area.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm in Calgary. Yeah, not far from Cochrane.
Played with the Saskatchewan Roughriders 1988 to 1993, and then the Toronto Argonauts 1994 to 1996, where he won a Grey Cup at 96. Jackie Parker Trophy winner, Dr. Beatty Martin Trophy winner, into the Roughriders Hall of Fame in 2005. It's a hell of a career, and all your fans, of which I'm one. This annoys me. I've had so many people say, Jeff's your favorite rider. He's mine too. No, he's mine. How's life?
Nice to hear.
How's life? How's life, Fairway?
Life's awesome. Yeah,
good to see you.
It's good. And hey, the weather's warming up here in Calgary. My golf course is open. Nothing can be better.
Yeah, it's good. It's warm. Moods are improving, right?
Oh, yeah.
And listen, CFL training camps are opening up right away. We've got Fairway into hour 2 to talk about all of these things, but I would be remiss. You did play with the Arizona Wildcats. How closely were you following the NFL draft round 1 last night?
I don't follow it, to be honest. I was watching hockey. I'm a Canadian at heart, so I have no idea. I follow the Wildcats down. I go down there and visit. In fact, I was there for 2 weeks in March and went to a couple spring practices, but no, I didn't follow it. And, I'm a Wildcat fan at heart, and I'll always be a Wildcat, but for the NFL draft and what's happening in college sports these days, I'm a little dry.
A little jaded? Little jaded?
Yeah, I just don't like all that NIL and the transfer portal. It's just not amateur sports anymore to me. Another subject, sorry.
No. Well, you see where my mind's going here.
Oh, yeah.
Was it amateur when you were there?
Oh, for sure it was. Absolutely it was. I mean, maybe one guy got a free car or something like that, and me and a teammate of mine, we got $1,000 to go sweep out somebody's garage, but that's it one time, and that's not a big deal because we were on scholarship and we got like $500 a month, and we had to go and live on that. But now it's like these kids are getting millions of dollars, and the transfer portal, it's like where's the school, spirit and things like that. I couldn't even imagine leaving. And back when I played, if you wanted to go to another school, you had to sit out a year, so there was a deterrent. But now, my goodness, it's like free agency. I mean, look at the Arizona basketball program. They have to. All 5 guys have left. It's just, I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't get it, and I hope it changes.
The man is not shy on opinions. Never has been.
That gets me in trouble, right?
And me too. That's why I think we get along. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, Jeff Fairholm looks jacked. Do you work out, Jeff?
Every day, man. I just came from the gym, and yeah, I keep track of it, and I work out every day so far in April.
Jeff, the Stampeders fan, says he must live in Bears Paw. Is that where you're at?
I'm close. I'm still in Calgary. I live sort of on the corner of 12 Mile Coulee and Crowchild. So I'm on the, not quite.
There you go.
Still in Calgary.
I will just say this, and then we'll leave the NIL thing alone. But I don't know what it was like when you were in a Canadian high school, but I was telling you about my Florida stories last fall, being in the high school football locker rooms with Matt DeBuck. Were you a teammate with Matt's?
No.
You know who he was. Played with the Argos. You know who he is.
I do.
So I was in his locker room, Plantation School, and the kids were talking about what so-and-so was getting offered by so-and-so college, into the 6 figures, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
High school, dude.
Well, I went to high school at a private boys' high school in Oakville, Ontario. I had 42 people in my graduating class, and they don't even have a football program anymore. So, no, I didn't get that. I was lucky enough to get a couple scholarship offers, and I chose to go.
Can you imagine those kids? That's the discussion, though. So-and-so's getting offered millions to go here. It shouldn't be that way, is my point.
And well, it's going to tilt the tables, right? I mean, those with the money are going to get the best athletes, and maybe not the best character people, but the best athletes for sure. It's going to tilt everything over. I don't like it.
Phil Kershaw watching. I think you and he have been in the same photograph at times, like on the steps of the legislature.
Absolutely.
He says one of the great riders of all time. Jeff also has a lot to add on the Rider Nation on and off the field. He needs to be listened to. Great guest. That's why he's here. But somebody said this to me, and I listen, sorry for the hyper-focused Saskatchewan thing here. But somebody said, Phil Kershaw, the guy that wore a blue sweater in the team photo? Do you remember that from '89?
I don't.
How do you wear a blue sweater, Phil,
but you know,
in a Rider photo?
Did you know Phil was the president of the Rough Riders, but he was in a volunteer position.
Yeah. And
one of the best ever, I might add. And, volunteer position.
And they won.
I love that grassroots. It's great.
They won with him as president, right?
We did.
So to sort of swing this around to the CFL, here's a segue. Chris Jones said recently, and I don't know where you stand on Chris Jones. I have a sense you're going to tell us. But he says it's hard to recruit American players now because of money. They're going to be used to making more money in college than they will in the CFL. Could you see that being a problem?
I do see that being a problem. You look at a kid who's maybe making a couple $100,000 in college, and now he's going to have to take a significant pay cut to come to the CFL. I can see that as a problem. I don't see it as a widespread problem, maybe one or two or three players, but yeah, no, I see it as a problem for sure, and that's why I don't like, I'm kind of jaded on college football a bit right now.
Fair, but do you see it going back? They fought for years to get the kids money, Jeff.
I learned a long time ago that things don't go back.
Right? When did you realize that?
Oh, boy. A long time ago. I'm not going to, a work thing, but yeah, right. It just doesn't happen. So.
But is there something to be said for players that want to play for the love of the game? I mean, come on.
Well, that's why I don't want to see the Canadian ratio rule go away, because the Canadian ratio, the Canadian kids want to play Canadian football. Sure, they might try their luck in the NFL because that's where the money is, but, kids in Canada want to play in the CFL, and that's real. Most of the time, it's their only way to play professional football. And when I played, it was for the love of the game. It certainly wasn't for the money.
I know I asked you this before, but I'll ask you again. Did it bother you to be referred to as the Canadian receiver? I don't think it did, but you were faster than all the Americans. Like, I'm offended by that passport thing, but you never were.
I wasn't really offended by it because I allowed my stats to speak for themselves. I felt that, every year, I don't know if it's true, but I felt that every year they were bringing people in to replace me with an American, with a Canadian, and it didn't matter. And I just did whatever I could to hold on to my job. And, I never felt like a Canadian receiver, even though I was born and raised and very proud to be Canadian. I was just a player and doing the best I can, and I'll allow my stats to speak for themselves.
And they do.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, what a special time. And just to quote Jones again, because we do talk a lot, he says the days of people staying in one place for years are over. And that's
he'd know.
Yeah, he'd know. He started it. Players, coaches, whatever. I don't like it. But it's a very special era. What I say, 88 to 94 for you. And that was short compared to the other guys like Jerson and Narcisse and the lineman, Poley Elgard, and all of that. And it's funny because John Bender sat in that chair yesterday. You must know John, former Stamps lineman. He said, Ray Elgard got him into financial planning because of a meeting down there in Nevada. That's kind of a special thing with the CFL, that you do need to be thinking about life after football.
You absolutely do. And that's another thing that I like about the Canadian game. I worked another job the entire time I played football. Now, we didn't start practice. We didn't actually have to be in the facility until around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was able to work a job. I was in at 7 and sell office furniture and make another living and get ready for when my playing days were finished. Because you're not gonna get rich on the CFL, and you're not gonna retire. So you better have something going. And I think things have changed. I think they've changed when they go to practice and how long they're allowed to keep them. So they're probably not as many, if any, players earning a second living. But for me, it was fantastic, and I was one of very few.
Jeff Fairholm with us. He'll be with us into hour 2 before he takes off for lunch. But we've got Jim Lang coming up in hour 2 and Bakari Grant. When we come back, we'll talk about the breaking news of the day in the Canadian Football League, that 4 teams have been fined for being over the salary cap in 2022. They are... Stay tuned. We'll tell you after the break. We're live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport, on Game Plus Television, WQEE, and streaming.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
We are live from that gorgeous spot, Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport. By the way, check out their all-inclusive wedding packages. Fly and gather in one location. Enjoy your moment and cancel the stress with our convenient location. For family and friends, all-inclusive packages starting at just $79.95. Contact Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport. For details, Jeff Fairholm's here, two-time Grey Cup champion, Hall of Fame receiver. What do you think of the new environs before we delve back into the football talk around here?
You know, I'm not a casino guy, but it's nice. It's new. It's clean. I don't smell a bunch of smoke like you normally do.
Yeah,
It smells nice.
Very fresh.
No, it's very nice here. I've never been in here, but it's yeah, very nice.
Well, I appreciate you making the drive out here to do it. We are at the Calgary Airport, just getting the word out where we are. Calgary's newest casino is Ace Casino Airport. The breaking news on this Friday, 4 CFL teams over the salary cap in 2022. They'll be fined dollar for dollar the amount that they're over. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Toronto Argonauts, the Ottawa Red Blacks, and the Montreal Alouettes. What do we think?
First of all, I'm shocked Edmonton didn't go over. That's my first thought. I don't know how you stay within the salary cap and be competitive these days with all of the injuries that are happening, but did they say how much? It's the first I've heard of
I believe it was under 100,000. I'd have to go back and look.
I mean, in a pro market, I'd say that's peanuts, and I'd say I wouldn't even make that known, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. I mean, if you get up to $500,000 to $1 million over, now we got something to talk about. But if it's $100,000 or less, then I'm not too concerned about it.
David Naylor broke the story from TSN. Those are the teams: Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. All are under $100,000. I know he won't mind me saying, but Jim Hobson, when the Riders were over, when they won the Grey Cup in 2013, he sat back off the air, but I'll tell it now because you don't care. It's a speeding ticket.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, right?
That's what he said. I wouldn't want to be, what do you call him, a capologist? That sounds like a very complicated job. Having said that, 5 other teams did comply, so it's not impossible. But isn't it interesting who's not? Calgary, they just do everything right, don't they?
They do.
Actually,
great, well-run franchise, and I love what Jay McNeil's doing as well. It's just a great franchise. They just build from within.
You were saying something in the break that I'll ask you to repeat here with regards to what some teams are doing that you're impressed by.
Yeah, I mean, and I read a lot of social media, certainly all about sports and the CFL, but I love what's happening with some of the new ownership and presidents that are out there. What's happening in BC for a new owner, and what's going to happen, I think, in Montreal with a new owner, and certainly what's happening in Edmonton. And I'm not a fan of Edmonton, but with what's happening with Victor Sweet, I think they're doing all the right things. And from what I see on social media, the CFL is in good shape.
I hope so. Well, and we will carry this over into hour 2 here on what we call a Football Friday. They announced the television deal. I know very little about it. In the States, CBS Sports Network. It's not CBS, okay? It's CBS Sports Network. I believe I have it in my cable package because I pay for every sports network, but I don't watch it. I will now for the games, but with my friends in the States, and you got a ton, you played with them, they watch CFL games, and they've been watching every game.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who lives in Tucson. We've been lifelong friends, and he used to watch me play on those big, huge satellite dishes. And he's still watching CFL. He loves the games, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fans, especially from the days of when there were, we played against teams down there. There's still fans down there, and it's grown the game quite a bit. So I think they're going to have a good viewership.
Well, you're a sales guy, not a business guy. There's a difference, but you understand dollars and cents. So this deal apparently has more money for the CFL than there's ever been. So how balance this? If not every game's available, is it a good deal or not?
Well, I think it's still a good deal. I mean, they can pick and choose the better games, the ones that will have better viewership. I think it's better than, if they're saying it's better than the ESPN deal. Then Financially, then if that's better, the CFL needs money. Teams need money. I think I saw each team's going to get $100,000. That pays for the speeding ticket that we talked about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Time will tell. It's like reading the Riders and their new offense. Time will tell. I'm from Missouri. Show me.
Yeah, me too. And speaking of that, we will carry that over into hour 2 as CFL training camps are about to start in a couple weeks' time, and people are getting very excited about that. Jim Lang joining us in hour 2, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Also, Bakari Grant, Grey Cup champion with the Stamps, and also a former Ticats and Rough Riders receiver. And we'll talk about, you can talk Stanley Cup playoffs. You said you're a hockey fan.
Absolutely.
So we'll be talking. Who's your Stanley Cup final prediction right now?
Oh, my God, I haven't even thought about it.
Okay, then you got 4 minutes.
Okay,
you got 4 minutes. Jeff Fairholm with us, 2-time Grey Cup champion, Rough Riders Hall of Famer. We'll be back after this brief pause on Ace, on Game Plus Television. WQEE and the streams live from Ace Airport Casino and Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport, right here. Stick around.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Your family needs a break. Delta Hotels Saskatoon welcomes you to our newly renovated hotel and water park. You deserve a vacation close to home. Enjoy world-class hospitality and upscale surroundings. Rediscover Saskatoon. You can enjoy time away from home right in your own city. The kids will love the water slide. Delta Hotels Saskatoon downtown. All the essentials and then some.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Do you believe in sports curses? Mike White, who's supposed to be the next big thing with the Jets, goes down in the first quarter, but they're saying there's got to be a curse on the Jets. And our question to you, the viewers, is do you believe in sports curses? Can't make up my mind whether I believe in them or not. Because on one hand, I say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But on the other hand, I'm very spiritual and believe there's a plan and all the rest, so I don't know.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming to you live from Ace Casino Airport, Calgary, Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport, on the Game Plus television network, WQEE radio and streaming. And we're going to have a lot of fun here in Hour 2. We've got my favorite all-time Rough Rider here, two-time Grey Cup champion Jeff Fairholm, who's been making his home here for how long, Fairway? How long you been in Alberta?
I've been here for 10 years now.
10? Oh, yeah, I thought it was longer than that.
No, as of Monday, it'll be 10 years.
Oh, how about that? And we're going to talk. Listen, it's a exciting weekend for sports. We're going to talk about it all with Jeff here. He's with us for one more segment. Then coming up, Jim Lang and Bakari Grant. Our poll question before we go any further, I should get this out of the way. I'm going to get your opinion, Fairway, on all of these things. But the Jets were grounded last night. The Winnipeg Jets got finished off by Vegas. They fell 4-1 in Game 5. Golden Knights moving on to round 2. They're the first team to advance. After the game, Rick Bowness, the coach of the Jets, torched his players and said, this goes back to January. We've had no pushback. Their best players were way better than our best players. He just roasted them. Our poll question today for Key Auto Group, where, by the way, it's truck month at Key Chevrolet Buick GMC. Get 3.49% financing up to 72 months on the 2023 Silverado 1500. Conditions apply. Go to keychev.com for more details. Should Rick Bowness be in trouble with the Jets ownership for pointing the fingers at the players? An hour ago, Moose says this should be kept in-house. I say he shouldn't because I'm a speak your truth kind of guy. So are you, I think. So do you think he will get a talking to by the owners of the team for calling out the players after the series?
He might get a talking to, but as long as he's been preaching that message since January internally, why not? I mean, players have to be held accountable. I think players these days in general are way too soft. And, you say the wrong thing to them, they go and pout. I mean, look what's happened. Nylander has been pouting, it seems like, the whole series. But I don't have a problem with what he said. I think the players need to be accountable. It's true. There was no pushback. They had some injuries to some key players, and I think that core of players in Winnipeg are going to get blown up now because they just haven't been able to push it across the goal line.
I don't think there should be changes with the coach or the GM, though. I don't know how closely you follow the Jets, but they had a pretty good regular season, got into the playoffs. I don't think there should be changes there. But you?
From the head coach and general manager? No.
No, with them.
But clearly they need to change their team because they're just not putting it across the goal line. They snuck into the playoffs barely. I thought they would be a good playoff team. But again, some injuries you can use. There's always a lot of excuses. But back to your original question, what's wrong with saying that it's too soft and no pushback? I have no problem with that.
And I don't think he will be in trouble, but I don't know how owners think. I never will understand that. Now, moving on to the Leafs and Lightning. The Leafs failed to close it out last night. That wing was 4-2 as the final with an empty netter, losing to Tampa. What do you say is your hometown?
I was born in Montreal, raised in Toronto, so that's usually what I say.
And you don't cheer for either the Habs or the Leafs?
I don't. Actually, I don't like the Habs at all. But
okay.
And don't ask me why. I'll get in trouble. But Toronto, I would like to see Toronto win because I think the town will go crazy. It'd be great for Canada. But, the statistic side of me wants to see them lose too because it's good entertainment. And, boy, they're tough to watch. As a fan, they're so hard to watch. They seem to just show up for 10 minutes of the game and then, pull it out with, kick down 3 goals. But they're tough to watch right now, but we'll see.
Well, I have Leafs in 7, and I guess that could still happen. But it's certainly lining up for another blowing it.
Yeah, I don't know if it goes to 7, I think Tampa's going to win. That's my prediction. But I think, they're built for the playoffs. I just don't know if they're tough enough. Or, you want to talk about with Bonessa. I don't think there's enough pushback by the Leafs right now.
Never has been.
No.
Yeah, that's a dressing room thing. By the way, the 4 games tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs are Carolina at the Islanders, Boston at Florida, Dallas at Minnesota, and Colorado at Seattle. Hurricanes, Bruins, Stars, and Kraken all lead 3-2. But in the time we have left, we will talk football with Jeff Fairholm. The training camps are opening in just over 2 weeks' time, I think about 16 days. And you said you're going to personally inspect Rough Riders training camp.
I wouldn't say I'm going to personally inspect.
You're going to show up.
I have occasion to be there, be in Saskatoon and that part of Saskatchewan for work. So, yeah, I'm hoping to catch a few practices and see how that offense comes together. It's basically a brand new offense. New offensive coordinator, new quarterback, new receivers, basically a new offensive line. So, if I was them, I'd be playing them together a lot in practice, and I would have them play a lot more than veterans usually play in the 2 preseason games because they need to gel quick because if they don't win out of the gate or if they go 0-4, 0-5, I know people are going to get restless.
It's Rider Nation.
Yeah, and they have every right to be restless. In my opinion, I'm restless. I want to see how they're going to be. Everything looks good on paper. They got the second best quarterback available, in my opinion, through free agency, which was a great job because Bo was off the table. But boy, if they start off slow, I'm going to say it. I think heads will roll, and I think a lot of heads will roll.
Well, the Rider Nation's tuned in to get your take on this. And I'm going back there this weekend. I'm going to be speaking in Pence with Chris and Ryan Getzlaff, and that's the talk. Just like it's 24/7 Flames here, and you get it. You've been here long enough to know. There, it's 24/7 Riders, and the fans are optimistic. And it's hard to talk to them because I don't see the optimism. You seem optimistic.
I am optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm always optimistic. You know, until they show me otherwise, I'm optimistic. I was optimistic about last year's team until they showed me otherwise. So, you know, on paper, they look like they have built a team. But defense, I think, is going to be fine. They've totally rebuilt an offense. Nobody's really played together other than a couple of players here and there from other teams, really. So they've got a lot of gelling to do, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on the coaches to put them together. I kind of wish Kelly would keep his mouth shut a little bit with how he's going to run the offense. I mean, I'm a show-me guy, so, okay, you want to talk? Then show me how good you can be on offense. And I hope they're good. And I'm hopeful, and I am optimistic.
Well, I just want to walk this back a little bit. As a guy that covered 20 training camps as voice of the Riders and several more before I was the voice of the Riders, I know what you're saying, but a lot of fans won't. You're saying because of the new OC and all the new personnel, it should be a veteran-heavy groupings from day one.
100%. I mean, they're going to have to take a look at some rookies that are going to come in, because hopefully you find one or two that can come in and start. But yeah, it's going to be it should be a very veteran group starting, playing more in preseason. Instead of playing a quarter in the first game and a half in the second game, I would suggest a half for the veterans in the first game and 3 quarters in the second game. That's what I think.
Well, and the old-time football guys, of which I'll lump you in that group, they sit back and they look at it, and they don't. I'm talking about the old coaches and stuff, like my buddies. They've coached every team, so they don't have a rooting favorite. They're like, if you're trying to get a leg up in the West, who are you going to get ahead of? Is the way they look at it. Like, what's your landscape, or what are you looking at for the West in the CFL this year?
Everything still goes through Winnipeg, in my opinion. I think BC is going to be super strong. Calgary's always good, and Edmonton is going to be a lot better than they were last year. They did the Chris Jones thing where they test the waters with everybody and have a revolving door. But they're going to be better. Chris Jones always is, and that leaves Saskatchewan, and it's kind of up in the air, right? I mean, how much more gas in the tank does the quarterback have? How much more gas in the tank does Walker have coming from Edmonton? Who's their deep threat? Can they protect the quarterback? These are all questions that I'd like to see in training camp get answered quickly, so that they can start the season 1-0.
I'm envious that you're going to be at training camp, because it's always a lot of fun. Right?
Yeah, well, I've got work to do, so I'm going to catch a couple of practices, and quite frankly, I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. But
you can see what you need to see.
Yeah, it's not hard to see, how fast the defensive line gets in and pressures the quarterback.
Oh, man. We should do a banquet or two together. Wouldn't that be fun? You're officially a railbird. I can see you now with the roster, binoculars.
Yeah, I could
make it taking your notes.
I do that once in a while, but like I said, I don't know the talent anymore. There's no way I could be a general manager or a scout.
Yeah, but
I know football, and I think I know good players, and that whole measurement thing. Someone's arms aren't long enough. I don't buy it. I think there's way too many metrics out there now, and you can tell an athlete pretty quick by looking at them.
But why I think the metrics are out there. And the reason he brings that up was last hour, Moose said the Titans took an offensive lineman in round 1 last night, and they're being criticized for it because his arms aren't long enough. And I believe the analytics, the stats, and those metrics are to say if the guy doesn't work out, they can go, well, he has all the numbers.
Yeah.
It's a way to cover the ass of the scouts and the GM.
It's a bit of a cop-out for sure, and that's really what they're looking at these days. And they do a lot of background checks on these guys coming out of college, and they have to have good people now as well, which I suggest the Riders do after last year. But there's a lot that goes into it. But how they fit into their team and getting the best athlete seems to be going by the wayside. And they're going a lot more on these analytics. And when you say someone's arms aren't long enough, they're probably talking half an inch. You know, we're not talking, you know, somebody with gorilla arms that go down to the floor here. So it's, you know, it's very, very tight.
Arlen Bruce writes in, and AB, thank you. He showed up on Football Friday. That's when we want you here, AB. He says, how can I get involved in scouting players professionally? I have an eye for talent on and off the field. Well, Arlen, you played for Winnipeg, Hamilton, BC. Call them. They know you. That would be a good place to start, I would suggest. Did you ever want to do that? You didn't, obviously, or you would have.
I coached for a bit, right? I coached in Toronto for a year.
John Heward.
A year and a bit. That was the bit. And, yeah, I didn't like that side of it, so I
remember that.
Chose to leave.
Yeah, we had a bad, not a good head coach to have.
Well, I had Jim Barker to start, and that year was a good year. But then I was the only one retained because of relationships with some people, and it didn't work out. It was bad.
You don't want to name them, yeah.
I could tell you stories.
I remember. What year was that, 2001?
I don't even remember.
You don't want to remember?
No.
I remember them coming through.
I want to say 99, maybe?
Maybe, yeah, a long time ago. But I remember the Argos coming through, and I wanted to interview you for the pregame, and you're like, they won't let me.
Well, that's how
what?
And that's how I got myself fired, because I called Perry Lefko, and I said, come interview me. And he said, you're not allowed. And I said, please come interview me.
Right. Selling office furniture now.
I'm doing consoles now. I'm doing command and control room consoles, yeah.
Okay. Monty in Saskatoon writes in. He says, I love Jeff. There you go.
Well, thank you.
From Finkel Einhorn, he says, is the new CFL TV deal only $1 million per year? Are there ratings incentives attached to the deal? You already know more than I do about it. What do you know about it?
I don't know exactly, but I think it's $1 million to start. So it gets $100,000 for each team, but I think the yearly fee being paid is much less than $1 million a year, I think.
I want to end it on this. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in and says, Roddy, are you still in Calgary next weekend? No, I will not be. Our residency here at Ace Casino Airport ends next Friday. I will not be here next weekend, Jennifer, but thanks for asking. On the good people thing, I don't know if every team's ever going to get that, but it is very important. Drafting good people, signing good people, hiring good people. We were talking about the 89 Flames the other day, and what the guys to me said, there was a team of good guys. They're still around.
That's
the Mike Vernons, the Jamie McCowans, the Colin Pattersons, the Lanny McDonalds. I would suggest I was talking all day because we were at our good friend Derek Meyer's funeral service memorial a couple weeks ago, and Rod said the same thing. He said 89 was such a special year. Flames, Riders, because we had a bunch of good guys.
We did, and it's culture, right? I mean, not everybody was a good guy. There weren't our scraps in the locker room and things. There were scraps, but it just gets dealt. It gets dealt with, right? And it's just a culture that comes from the top down. It's about leadership, and if you don't, and I mean top, you talk about Phil Kershaw and all the way down through the ranks, the general manager, the head coach, all of the coaches. We had like 5, and you know and the players, and it's just it's a culture thing, and it's hard, really, really difficult. I mean, there are people who are experts in culture, in business, trying to get the right culture, and you have a bad one, and it is toxic. You have a good one, and it wins championships for you.
Thanks for coming to Jeff's TED Talk. Perfect, though. It seems so easy.
Oh, and it's not.
Yeah, why is it so hard?
Because you've got all kinds of different people. You're being paid. You know, you've got these professionals that are there, and you're paying people, and they're from all different walks of life. You know, I mean, I won't even name, but you have all different walks of life, and if you don't have that right chemistry in the locker room, and it has to be made, and then, you know, that chemistry outside of the locker room, it's a very slippery slope. I mean, look what happened to the Riders last year with Marino. I hear that the locker room was lost. Well, what does that mean? That's just a lack of culture, and it comes from the top down.
Jeff Fairholm, you're the best. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Roddy.
See you next time back when we're through.
Yeah, safe travels, bud.
2-time Grey Cup champion Jeff Fairholm. When we come back, Canada's foremost NFL expert, Jim Lang from Toronto, and best-selling author on the Leafs as well. That should be fun. We're live from Ace Casino Airport and Hotel Cleat, Calgary Airport on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE, and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
The scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Your family needs a break. Delta Hotels Saskatoon welcomes you to our newly renovated hotel and water park. You deserve a vacation close to home. Enjoy world-class hospitality and upscale surroundings. Rediscover Saskatoon. You can enjoy time away from home right in your own city. The kids will love the water slide. Delta Hotels Saskatoon downtown. All the essentials and then some.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Mike's so hot. Go ahead. Ace Casino Airport, the place to be, especially for UFC 288 free viewing party here May 6th for UFC 288 and all UFC pay-per-view events every month at the Ace Casino Airport Sports Bar. Just to my left, your right, on the 40-foot TV wall. We're going to start. Let's bring him in. He needs a hug. His Toronto Maple Leafs had a shot at advancing to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time since 2004, but they blew it. So even your dog's mad. Losing 4-2 to Tampa last night, Jimmy.
Rod, after 19 years, I should be used to the pain. I should be numb to the pain, but I'm watching the game unfold, and I'm watching Vasilevsky, and I'm like, they're not winning the game. They're not going to win because Vasilevsky hit the eye of the tiger. I'm like, that's it. They're not winning this game, and they're going back to Tampa. And if they don't win in Tampa, then they're going to lose the series.
Could you tell from the get-go early on that the Leafs, it just wasn't their night? What gave you that sense?
No, because Morgan Riley scored, and I thought that's it. But when Tampa scored, 60 seconds later, I went, uh-oh. I mean, that really, I think, deflated them mentally. And so after that, Rod, they threw the kitchen sink at Vasilevsky, and he just had one of those games. And I counted a good 6-7 chances for the Leafs, point blank on the doorstep, and he just made save after save. And that's tough to overcome in the playoffs when a goalie's that good.
What was the reaction on your radio show this morning? Did your audience have some thoughts? What's the mood, man? Give me the vibe. We're out here in Western Canada. Tell me what they're saying in the Big Smoke.
They've been burned so many times recently, Rod. It's just they expect the worst. They really expect the worst. Think about it. 2004, I was looking up the other day. The average cost of a house in the GTA was about $300,000 in 2004. It's now over $1 million. Price of gas was like 70 cents a liter. It was like a world away, a generation apart that they made it past the first round. So, for so many years, the playoffs is a reality show for Leaf fans because they either don't make it or they don't get by the first round, and they're watching other fan bases. And after a game like last night, they're at home, the crowd's amped up. They've got everything going their way. They've come off those 2 great comebacks and overtime wins, and then they lose like that. You could just feel like, oh, no, here we go again. So for the Leafs to be successful, as far as I'm concerned tomorrow night, they've got to score early and not allow Tampa to tie the game within 60 seconds after you score. And because if they're trailing in the third, I just don't know if they're going to be able to come back again. They can't keep coming back to the well.
So you're basically saying Game 6 is the series. You're thinking for the series.
I do, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The same thing happened with the Bruins a number of years ago, where if they had won Game 6, they win the series, and went to Game 7 and they lost to the Bruins. And there's something about the Leafs in Game 7. Think about this, Rod. They are 0-11 in the last 10 years when trying to close out a series. 0-11. Not many teams can say that.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Well, I'll tell you what, before we switch to the NFL, and Jim Lang is Canada's foremost NFL expert, so get your questions in now for Jim on round one of the NFL draft, and the subsequent rounds today and tomorrow. What's your take on these Stanley Cup playoffs? You're a hockey fan. What's been the best series? What's not? What's been a surprise to you?
Well, I don't know if it's a surprise, but my goodness, Vegas, they're good. The Golden Knights are a good hockey team. Getting Mark Stone back before the end of the start of the playoffs, into the regular season, and Jack Eichel and Pietrangelo, you're like, oh, they're loaded. They're a good team. I've been you guys were talking about culture just before I came on. Think about Lindy Ruff, how long he's been in the league. He developed a culture in Buffalo in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he's done the same thing 20 years later, over 20 years later, in New Jersey with the Devils. Think about the culture with the Devils and what they've done lately and how good they've looked against the Rangers. And there was reports of the Rangers yelling at each other in the bench because they're so upset the way things are playing out. Give Lindy Ruff some credit. No one talks about his acumen as a coach, his ability to adapt to younger players and adapt to the new way of doing things in the NHL. It's a young team in New Jersey. And I wouldn't be surprised if they knock off the Rangers and go far in the playoffs, because there's something about the culture that Lindy Ruff's built in New Jersey that you got to tip your hat to.
Speaking of, and I could go on this forever, but on cue, we have questions for you regarding the NFL. But how did you feel about Rick Bowness? Our poll question today for Key Auto Group is, should he be or will he be in trouble with Jets owners for pointing the finger at the players after Game 5, the loss last night? I don't have a problem with it, but do you?
I don't have a problem with it. I guess today's players don't respond like that. A kid 21, 22, to hear that, they're probably not going to respond well to it. So it's a tough tightrope to walk when you think about it. You want to point out that, hey, this didn't work out. I wasn't impressed with your pushback, but then to stand in front of the media, announce it to the world, and it's played like thousands of times, and it's going viral, and the players, they're getting text messages around the league. I'm not saying it's right, just to say the way it is now, Rod, with players and agents and the buzz in the National Hockey League and how things are said like that. So I wonder about his future in Winnipeg. It shouldn't be a question, but you wonder if stuff's going to circle back to ownership in Winnipeg. Are the Jets going to retain him? Are they going to maybe move them up to the front office, get a different coach in, different voice. It's tough being a coach in pro sports right now because A, you want to motivate and push your players, but B, you can't offend them. You can't hurt their feelings. And that's something that just didn't exist when we were growing up.
I know. And the thing is, as time goes along, we're not coming back around. Like what should happen and what does happen are so far apart.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
and my
absolutely.
good friend Theron Fleury, who's going to be down here next week, Theo's going to be here. He's like, we're done. We're never coming back. The world's done. And I'm like, well, I'd hate to think you're right, but he's, yeah. Arlen Bruce III, whom I believe we've had this discussion, was playing for the Argos when you were broadcasting Argonauts games. He writes in and says, Mr. Lang, why aren't you in Kansas City at the Super Bowl champions draft party? LOL. Chiefs versus Seahawks in Super Bowl 58. That's my prediction.
Well, Arlen, first of all, great player, great individual, and just a great football mind just to talk the game on and off the record. I mean, there are players that play the game and are just good at, but there are players that play the game and think the game, and he's definitely one of them. Understands the game from a player perspective and a big picture perspective. I've always respected that. So if someone's willing to send me to Kansas City, I'll go. Yeah, gladly. I'll be there. Thank you.
There you go. From Ryan in Saratoga, New York, he says, good day, Mr. Lang. Great T-shirt. Was the Jets' selection of Will McDonald IV a reach, as a lot of pundits are saying, or is it a case of drafting the best player on the board?
I don't think it's a reach, but first of all, I can't stand them saying it's a reach. How do they know it's a reach? The Jets, think about this. The Jets have done their own metrics, their own interviews, their own measurements, their own evaluation. There's probably 10 people in the Jets front office who have a combined 100 years of NFL experience scouting and looking at players and felt this is the best player for the team in this moment. So we don't know if it's a reach until the guy actually plays some games. I mean, let's face it, a couple of years ago, Trey Lance was the be-all, end-all. He's only played a handful of football games the last few years. So, that's why I bristle at that when people say it's a reach. No one knows if it's a reach yet. Let the guy play. He could turn out to be a great player.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with social media now and the way things are. Everybody's going to give an opinion. It's funny, by the way, Jim, I consider you and I both old school media people. Sorry, I shouldn't lump you in, but we are.
No.
And it's funny because Cam Cole came out with a tweet the other day. Hall of Fame writer, NHL, CFL, and he just got trounced by people for his opinion. He's retired in Kelowna, and I'm like, welcome to the new millennium of you can't say anything without just getting buried. Because in Cam's day, unless you were writing a letter to the editor, you could say whatever the hell you wanted. You were never going to have to answer for it, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the thing, I think it's the everyone's trying to prove how smart they are. So I'm going to make an opinion. I'm going to go on social media and say that's a reach. Well, how do you know it's a reach? You don't know the player. You've not done the due diligence that the coaches and the front office and the scouts have done. You've not been in the meetings. You've not been in the interviews. You've not looked at the film. You've not scouted them. So it's an easy narrative to say, yeah, it's a reach. That's, you could say it's lazy journalism, but it gets clicks, right? It gets people going and gets comments going on your social media. But the problem is with players coming out of the NFL or any draft, let's face it, Rod, it is a crapshoot. I mean, you can go down websites and look at first-round picks of all the four major pro sports. They don't always hit. And how many fifth, sixth, last picks overall make it? Tom Brady was a sixth-round draft pick. There was no Todd McShay or Mel Kiper going on and on about Tom Brady when he got drafted out of Michigan to New England. He was an afterthought. So that's where sometimes people think they know everything. You don't know what you don't know. And so there's a feeling this guy may make it. He may be an impact player, but until they get in the training camp and get in with the team and start practicing, then you're really going to know. Because right now, we think we know. Like some people are like, why would the Eagles get Jalen Carter from Georgia? I don't know, because now they have a really, really deep defensive line, and they can rotate all these stud players in and get after the quarterback. That's why they did it. That's not a reach. That's them looking at the team going, there's two big things in the NFL right now. You have to have a quarterback, and you have to be able to get to the quarterback. They've got the quarterback in Philadelphia and Hurts, and now they got another weapon on defense to get after the other team's quarterback. That's not a reach. That's smart drafting.
Right. And the thing is, you need a strong leader to block out the noise with the criticism of your players, of your staff. And the Eagles clearly have it because they're in another Super Bowl this year. Your take on, I guess, night one of the NFL draft, and the other big news of the week is Aaron Rodgers officially a Jet, and Lamar Jackson's got 5 more years in Baltimore. So it's been a good week in the NFL.
It has. I'm actually glad the Lamar Jackson contract situation's done, so we don't have to talk about it all year. And, you know, they got Mark Andrews at tight end. They got Odell Beckham Jr. So now the Ravens like, ooh, that's pretty good. I thought getting Anthony Richardson out of Florida for the Colts to go with their new coach, Shane Steichen, who used to be the offensive coordinator with the Eagles. And now you think the Colts now, that's going to be pretty interesting because they got C.J. Stroud in Houston. So now you got 2 really top-end young stud quarterbacks going to the AFC South to go along with Trevor Lawrence. So also the AFC South is kind of exciting. I think the Lions had another good draft. And we use the word culture. Dan Campbell has built a culture. He refuses to accept the mantra of the same old Lions. They built something good last year, and they built on it this year with their draft picks. With players on both sides of the football. So, and if you look at what the Bears did before the draft with their trade with DJ Moore, so now you got Justin Fields and DJ Moore, and now you have a good Bears team, a good Lions team, the Vikings pretty solid, and now the Packers are going to have to hope Jordan Love grows up in a hurry. But I mean, I honestly can't wait for a Bears-Lions game, and I think the Lions are going to be one of those teams that people do not want to play. Because Dan Campbell's built a culture there that you're going to get punched in the mouth when you play the Lions, and they're building a lot of talent there. So they've drafted wisely going into this second round and third round today, Rod.
With Aaron Rodgers in the AFC East, what is your projected ranking of teams, where they'll finish 1 through 4?
Well, I still think the Bills are the class of the league. I mean, everyone. I'm glad that Aaron Rodgers has gone to the Jets, but that doesn't mean the Bills aren't still the team to beat in the AFC East as far as I'm concerned. They're still the team. I think it's going to be really interesting, Dolphins and Jets, who's number 2. And, I mean, the Dolphins are a team on the rise as well. It's going to make for great football. And one of those 2 teams, Jets or Dolphins, may or may not make the wild card in the AFC. That's the reality. Because I'm pretty sure the Bills are going to win at the division. And there's going to be what's the issue right now in the AFC for other teams is there are so many elite level quarterbacks now. They got, I mean, Mahomes and Herbert in the West. You start going down the list of all the divisions, you know, Lamar Jackson's locked up long term. Not all of these great quarterbacks and all these teams in the AFC are going to make the postseason. Someone's going to miss. And there's not going to be a lot of margin for error for any of these teams. So that's where, you know, back in the day in the 80s, it was the NFC had all the great quarterbacks. Well, now, right now, the AFC is absolutely loaded with great quarterbacks and great teams.
Jim Lang, fantastic commentary as always. Good luck with your leaves and enjoy the rest of the NFL draft. I appreciate the time, brother.
Thank you, Rod. All the best. Go Leafs, go.
All right, thanks. See ya. Jim Lang from Hogtown. When we come back, Bakari Grant, the last time he was on, the Grey Cup champion, former Ticats Stampeder and Rough Rider, we got cut off. Or we didn't get to as much as I'd like to. So if you got questions for BG, fire them at us, tweet us. We'll be right back to Ace Casino Airport after this timeout and Hotel Cleat Calgary Airport on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
I'm Bridget Laquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Back live at Ace Casino Airport, where, by the way, happy hour is on every day, 2 till 5 p.m. 25% off appetizers and $5.25 domestic beer and highballs. Calgary's newest casino is Ace Casino Airport, and we're also situated at Hotel Cleek, Calgary Airport. Let's bring him in. BG, Cali Kid, Bakari Grant, Oakland, California product, joining us from the Bay Area. Just BG, before you start talking, let's tell our audience, 2010 with the San Francisco 49ers wideout, 2011 to 2015 Hamilton Tiger Cats, 2016 and 18 with the Calgary Stampeders, where he won a Grey Cup, and 2017 with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, where we got to know each other, a CFL East Division All-Star in 2013, and a winner of the 106 Grey Cup. BG, welcome back. What's happening in the Bay Area today, my man?
Thanks for having me. Rod. Weather's getting better. It's beautiful outside. That's kind of rare to have to say for California, but we just had about 12 weeks of rain, which was rare. I know, rough life, right? For those that just dealt with the wintry, snowy winter. So nothing too much to complain about here.
Okay, how much you follow hoops? I'm assuming you do. You into it big?
I am.
How much you follow basketball?
I'm a Warriors fan. I'm a Warriors fan, right? So not a huge basketball fan necessarily, but big Warriors fan. I like watching sports to watch the greats at any level. So, yeah, definitely watching the Kings Warriors right now.
That's what I'm asking. I'm just because they're playing tonight, and it's like the Warriors just driving a stake into the heart of these poor Sacramento Kings fans. They have a 2-0 lead, and then finally Sacramento's got something, and then the Warriors just come in and step on them. Have I read that right?
Stepped on him like Draymond, right?
How about that? Yeah, sorry. Too soon? Too soon? Anyways, BG, I said it, the last time we had you on, you just started getting into the important stuff at the end, and we ran out of time. And that was, through the NFL, was it the Players Association or Alumni Association? You did that survey about mental health, and it kind of opened your eyes. Can you tell us a little more about that and kind of what your efforts are now towards that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess to start, I tell you kind of my pathway with mental health and some of the journey that I went on. So in 2015, for those that follow the Ticats, was a rough year for me. Some injuries, fractured my leg, tore my meniscus, AC joint sprain. So I was out for a good chunk of time for the first time in my career where it was substantial towards I was getting older and football eyes. So I sat down because I was going through this mental issue of an identity crisis, so to speak. And so what I did was, I was sitting in a hot tub one day in my recovery routine and decided to write down kind of my life plan. And it was really a business plan for my life on, who I was, what skill set I had, what skill set I didn't have, and some skill sets that I thought I needed to develop over the next few years as, my career progressed. So fortunately, I went on for 3 more years and to win a Grey Cup, but that was a pivotal moment for me because I went to this really dark place and I couldn't understand why until I really started asking myself who I was outside of football. And I think a lot of players in every sport go through this if they played that sport for the majority of their lives. And so in 2018, 2019, I got the opportunity with the NFLPA to take a course in mental health first aid. And basically, it gave tools for us to understand when we're having conversations with teammates, ex-players, or friends or family on how to recognize when somebody's going through something mentally. What are some signs where you can explore deeper and make sure that, if they are going through some mental difficulties, that we have resources to give them, things we could suggest to them, and then directions that we could point them. So it was a great opportunity for me to kind of reflect on the time that I went through and how I could help others.
So let me ask you this. From the time you first realized something wasn't right until you took this survey and saw, yeah, it wasn't right. What happened in between? What was life like then?
It's tough. I think what a lot of athletes go through and a lot of men who aren't taught to talk about their feelings or the issues that we're dealing with, we're taught to toughen up and take it on. It was what I would call a somewhat lonely time of exploration, which turned out really good. But it would have been awesome to have someone alongside of me to say, hey, I know you're going through this, but here are some resources that I use. So I definitely leaned heavily on some of my teammates at the time because I was in this place that I was unfamiliar with. Masoli was a great resource for me just talking. We had a ton of conversations throughout 2015 that just really helped me explore some of the issues that I was going with. So I think for me, fortunately, I was still in a locker room full of brothers at the time that I was going through my issues. But what I'm realizing now after taking this course and after having some conversations, Jack Fulton out of Calgary has been an amazing resource in helping me understand not only what I went through, but what it meant. And so we've been having discussions about players that are post-career that are going through some of these issues. Fortunately, like I said, I still had the locker room to lean on. I still had a set of brothers to lean on. And now I've really been talking with Jack about how do we create that atmosphere post-career to really maintain somewhat of a locker room for guys to be able to depend on some others who are potentially going through the same issues or who have resources that could potentially help guys that are going through some of these issues.
Well, let's cut to the chase right now. If somebody is struggling right now in that demographic of what you've said, current or former players, what should they do today?
Fortunately, in the NFL, they have a ton of resources, especially through the PA, where guys can reach out to the PA. And I mean, from mental health support, from financial support, career support, All these things play into some of those mental issues or mental health issues that guys are facing. And unfortunately, we don't necessarily have those resources in the CFL. So now what I would say is, number one, my phone line, my email, I'm always open to have conversations with guys. But number two is I'm working with Jack and his organization, Life Choice Dynamics, to create a network of guys where we start collecting resources, information, connecting people really is what it's about, and giving them the opportunity to know, hey, this is a safe place. You can contact this group. We'll extend our resources to you, or sometimes we'll just listen. So that's something that's coming down the line. I'm working with something with the Ticats right now to get a podcast or some sort of show where we can get in touch with folks who have gone through a career, who can share their experience. It's more focused on post-career, so hopefully there's some connectivity between players and ex-players. So we're really trying to create those resources right now for the CFL. So any resources that are out there, we just ask that when we get in contact with you, or if anyone knows of anything, get in contact with us, and hopefully we can create something where guys feel comfortable and have a place to go.
BG, we need to keep the conversation going, unfortunately. Well, we're almost out of time here, and I can talk about this for hours, and I realize not everybody wants to, so that's why I won't go on forever. But let me just ask you this. Why don't guys want to talk about it? Can you please tell me why guys don't want to talk about it? We have a minute.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, it's plain and simple. We come from a tough sport. We come from a sport where you're taught to, rub some dirt on it, get back up and keep pushing. And that's the stereotype that's now getting pushed away. And I would say for men in general, we're in an age where now we're understanding that a network of other folks who are going through the same thing exists. You're not the only one going through it. So we're trying to build stronger people and be a support system for them. So, the conversation has to happen.
I'm with you, man, and I'm so proud of you for you doing this, and I thank Jack for helping out. Anything you need, I'm here for you guys. Thank you, BG.
Right up. Always appreciate it, Rod, and thank you so much.
Great message from Grey Cup champion Bakari Grant. We'll be right back with one final segment, including a fairly lengthy sports update, which is going to be good because there's a lot going on. I still can't get the text line going, so if you want to talk to me, do it through the streams, okay? And we'll finish it all off. A wonderful week here at Ace when we come back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, and streaming.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Your family needs a break. Delta Hotels Saskatoon welcomes you to our newly renovated hotel and water park. You deserve a vacation close to home. Enjoy world-class hospitality and upscale surroundings. Rediscover Saskatoon. You can enjoy time away from home right in your own city. The kids will love the water slide. Delta Hotels Saskatoon downtown. All the essentials and then some.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Lot of sun, smoky in the air. That's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
One final time, Hotel Clique, Calgary Airport. And by the way, breaking news, RP Show listeners get 15% off Hotel Clique standard rates with the promo code RP Show. Starting now. Book before May 6th and travel before December 21st. Cannot be combined with other offers or negotiated rates. Some restrictions apply. Call Hotel Clique for details, and we have some very exciting news coming your way shortly for CFL fans and Hotel Clique. So that's a long between May 6th and December 21st. Use the promo code and get 15% off. As promised, a sports update on this Friday, on a football Friday. Canada's Jennifer Jones and Brent Lang will play for the bronze medal after falling 6-2 to the USA in today's semifinals at the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship in South Korea. Canada will meet Norway in Saturday's bronze medal game, while the USA will battle Japan for gold. It's a travel day for the Toronto Maple Leafs after the team failed to wrap up their first-round Stanley Cup playoff series with a 4-2 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning Thursday night. The Leafs can close out the best-of-7 affair with a Game 6 win Saturday night in Tampa. The Edmonton Oilers and LA Kings also get back at it Saturday night in LA. The Oilers hold a 3-2 series advantage following Tuesday's 6-3 win in Edmonton. I'll finish this the way that I started. There's an NHL scout here the other night at the Saddle Dome at the Wranglers game who was complaining to me that the Oilers and Kings have to wait another night because of an NBA game in LA tonight. He's probably watching right now because he says that he does on TELUS Channel 924, Game Plus TV. So I'm not going to call him a whiner, even though he was whining. Can we stop complaining about things? There's 4 games tonight as it is. And 4 teams facing elimination tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes can close out their series with the Islanders with a win on Long Island. The Boston Bruins can eliminate the Panthers with a Game 6 victory in Florida. Dallas Stars need a road win in Minnie to end that series in Game 6. And the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche need a win in Seattle at the Crack House to avoid being ousted by the Kraken. Any bets? Who's going down tonight? Will it be the Avalanche? Will it be the Panthers? Stars or Isles? What a great night of hockey in the National Hockey League. The NBA playoffs continue tonight with a pair of crucial Game 6 matchups. The defending champion Golden State Warriors can close out their series with a 4th straight victory at home against the Sacramento Kings, and the LA Lakers can finish off the Memphis Grizzlies with a win on home court. The Toronto Blue Jays open a 3-game series with the Seattle Mariners tonight at Rogers Center. Ace Alek Manoah gets the start for the Blue Jays against Seattle's Luis Castillo. Toronto sits third in the American League East, 4.5 behind the first-place Tampa Bay Rays. Canada's Taylor Pendrith is 2 shots back of the leader heading into the second round of the PGA's Mexico Championship in Puerto Vallarta. American Austin Smotherman is in first place after closing with 4 straight birdies for an 8-under 63 in Thursday's opening round. Defending champ and Masters winner John Rahm is 4 shots back. This sports update is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, Renfield. And this modern monster tale of Dracula's loyal servant, Nicholas Hoult, stars as Renfield, the tortured aide to history's most narcissistic boss, Dracula, played by Nicolas Cage. Renfield is forced to procure his master's prey and do his every bidding. But now, after centuries of servitude, Renfield is ready to see if there's a life outside the shadow of the Prince of Darkness. If only he can figure out how to end his codependency. Renfield in theaters now. Landmark Cinemas this weekend. Go check it out. Courtesy of the RP Show. And Landmark Cinemas. By the way, we do have a winner. Randy Butzelar. Ta-da! From Regina. You are going to the movies, courtesy the RP Show at Landmark Cinemas. You texted movies to 902-518-3033, and you've won the gift package, courtesy Landmark Cinemas, of movie passes and concession coupons for the movie of your choice. So we wind this up. Another fantastic week that went by far too fast here on the old RP Show at Ace Casino Airport. From Stacy from Access World Headquarters watching, says, have a great weekend, Rod Squad. Go Kings. Ryan in Saratoga, New York, says, have a great weekend, everyone. And enjoy whichever sports you watch. Go Devils. From Ryan in New York. Sorry, Ryan in Metro Atlanta. Another great RP show. Thank you, Ryan. We are Atlanta's NHL show. Last minute of play in the RP show this week. And I got to mention, too, get out and support your local junior hockey teams if you are in Winnipeg, if you are in Saskatoon, Kamloops, or Kent, Washington. The WHL Conference Finals opening tonight with Game 1s, Blades at Ice, Blazers at T-Birds. And also that breaking CFL news we'll be talking about over the weekend. 4 teams over the salary cap: Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. We broke it all down earlier on today with Jeff Fairholm. If you missed it, go back and watch or give it a listen. Also, a big thank you to Jim Lang and Bakari Grant for being on your favorite daytime sports talk show today. And we'll see you back here Monday, noon Eastern, on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, and the streams live from Ace Casino and Hotel Clayton, Calgary Airport. Who has more fun than us?